Renunciation, Nekkhama, is one of the 10 perfections in the Theravada, the Pali tradition. In a way, it's not really renunciation, because nothing can really be owned, so you're not really giving anything up. It was never yours in the first place. In a sense, it's giving up the illusion that things were being owned. That's what's being renounced, is the delusion that this belonged or belongs to me. So Nekkhama, it's to do with simplicity and a sense of inner sufficiency, inner fullness, if you like. Purna is the Sanskrit word, punna in Pali, that inner quality of fullness or wholeness, so that it's to do with in Western terminology, like a voluntary simplicity, learning to be at ease, to be content, and to be adaptable in many situations without having to have a lot of stuff, a lot of particular conditions around in order for us to feel comfortable, to feel happy, to feel well. So renunciation, Nekkhama, as a paramita, it's a kind of robustness and an adaptability where you're able to live with heat, with cold, with comfort, discomfort, with lots of people, few people, with a lot of possessions, no possessions. It is a counteraction of the habits of neediness. I've got to have things this way, I've got to have this kind of food, I've got to be living in this kind of place, I mustn't have that kind of noise, I've got to have this kind of medical help in order for things to be good. So Nekkhama is that sense of being one who has few needs, few wishes. Obviously, if you need dialysis, then it's good to have a dialysis machine, or if you have diabetes, it's great to have an insulin supply and so on. So it's kind of Nekkhama and renunciation isn't about being uncaring for the needs of the body or the world, but it's looking at what do we think we have to have and learning to trim that back. So our life as monastics is a lot about renunciation. We try to live simply. In the forest tradition in particular, we practice what are called the dhutangas, or the sort of extra practices for developing simplicity of living. So you deliberately learn to live with more hardship, just like living under the shade of a tree, not living in a building, living with just 3 robes as a monk, just eating 1 meal a day, just whatever food comes into your bowl on the alms round, just not lying down to sleep, just using 3 postures, sitting, standing and walking, and not lying down. So you deliberately use those dhutanga practices. They probably have those in other, I know they do in the Chinese tradition, probably similar languaging of it in the Tibetan tradition, as ways of, in a sense, upping the ante, so that there were allowable ascetic practices that the Buddha established, saying, okay, if you want to develop more of the Nekkhama factor, Nekkhama paramita, then you can choose to just eat 1 time a day and don't eat anything else. You can choose to just live on the food you get given in the village and not accept anything in the monastery. You can choose to not live in a building, just live under a mosquito net, under a tree and such like. So he did allow extra ascetic practices, but they're quite limited. There's 13 that were specified. And that in terms of life in the world, Nekkhama, the amount of human consumption and the resources of the planet, then if it comes to Nekkhama, more is better, I would say.